The persecution of Ahmadiyya Muslims is unfortunately a daily occurrence. Religious persecution of members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is a global issue, particularly in Pakistan, where they face state-sponsored persecution. Members face open discrimination, harassment, and persecution for their faith on a regular basis. In Pakistan, 4 Ahmadiyya Muslims have been murdered in the past 4 months alone on grounds of faith. The persecution of Ahmadiyya Muslims was recently debated at the Houses of Parliament in Westminster, London. On Tuesday, the 23rd of November, a special adjournment debate was held in the main chamber of the House of Commons to highlight the persecution Ahmadiyya Muslims faced throughout the world. The debate was opened by an introductory speech by the Member of Parliament for Wakefield, Mr. Imran Ahmad Khan, who highlighted several key issues on the difficulties faced by Ahmadiyya Muslims.
That Ahmadis devote themselves to serving the cause of justice and humanity everywhere. Sadly, however, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is an object of hate and suffers vicious persecution around the world. Horrifyingly, still, the vile abuse and persecution suffered by the Ahmadiyya Jamaat is not confined to just those alive. Some 39 Ahmadi bodies have been disinterred from what should have been their final resting place, and 70 Ahmadi Muslims have been denied burial in communal cemeteries. Heartbreakingly, members of the Ahmadiyya community are spared no respite from persecution, either in life or death.
Several members of Parliament spoke during the intervention, raising concerns of the welfare and the denial of freedoms Ahmadis face. Speakers during the intervention included Siobhan McDonough, Member of Parliament, Chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group for the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community.
Only yesterday, another Ahmadi was murdered in Lahore, in Pakistan, Dr. Tahir Ahmed, by a teenager. Does he regard it as frightening that the most radicalised and anti-Ahmadi of the community in Pakistan tends to be the young?
Miss Fiona Bruce, the Member of Parliament for Congleton.
The real tragedy in Pakistan is that it's the very constitution and laws of Pakistan, particularly the blasphemy laws, which are so often the basis for persecution of the Ahmadis and indeed other religious minorities, when in any country these should be the cornerstone of protection of such fundamental rights, such as freedom of religion and belief.
Mr. Matt Weston, the Member of Parliament for Warwick and Leamington.
I find it quite shocking, the deaths, the murders that he's been describing, but the fact that the Ahmadi people are denied the fact that they can describe themselves as Muslim, that they cannot describe their place of worship as a mosque, and that they should be denied the vote. Does he agree with me that this is quite shocking suppression and persecution of the people?
Mr. John Speller, the Member of Parliament for Worley.
He mentioned about the large community that's established here. Can he also mention the huge contribution they make in the United Kingdom, particularly in charitable work and also in community work, playing a very valuable and active role, quite apart from their peaceful message, but really working hard in the community.
Mr. Elliot Colburn, the Member of Parliament for Carshalton and Wallington.
The UK has indeed been a welcoming home for the Ahmadiyya community. Indeed, many have settled in my own Carshalton and Wallington constituency due to its proximity to the Battlefooter Mosque in my honourable friend, the member of the Mitcham and Mordens constituency. Would you agree with me that the UK needs to continue playing a leading role in providing refuge and a safe haven for Ahmadis fleeing persecution across the world?
As part of the UK government's response, the Government Minister, Mr. Nigel Adams, Member of Parliament, highlighted some of the high-level actions being taken by the UK government to help support the freedoms of Ahmadiyya Muslims, both in the UK and abroad, such as the use of the UK human rights sanction regime to target individuals and organisations involved in violations of freedom of religion internationally.
People must be able to practice their faith and express their beliefs without fear or discrimination. And I'd like to point to the global human rights sanctions regime that we have. It's a powerful tool to hold to account those involved in serious human rights violations and abuses. Notably, in the context of this debate, this could potentially include those who target individuals on the grounds of their religion or belief.
This report is brought to you by MTA International, UK Studios in London.